Greetings, brothers of the massive and progressive 12th District. It's such a privilege and honor for us to have a continued conversation, what we're calling transformational testimonies. And in Omega, we're blessed to be friends and brothers. And I'm especially delighted to have this conversation with our friend and brother, Brother Donovan Bell. Brother Bell, welcome. And during these conversations, we're sharing our stories. And certainly, you have a powerful story that we look forward to hearing from you. And so, without further ado, if you would tell us, obviously your full name, your tag, and tell us a bit of your life story. And the floor is yours, my brother.
No, I appreciate it, Brother District Chaplain. I really appreciate it, and this is a great time. Honor to be here with you, Brother Chuck, as always. My name is Brother Donovan Bell. I am Deuce Tail Zeta Lambda Fall 98 Brickyard Qs. Currently active with Phi Iota chapter, and also have been serving as your 12th District Technology Chair. Uh, so my life journey, when I think about that, it's one of service, growth, and building bridges. So professionally, spent over 20 years in operational and technology leadership across diverse industries: Microsoft, Walmart, Las Vegas Sands, Corp, Doosan Bobcat, and now at Intel, where I serve as the head of global operations for Intel's corporate affairs, policy, integrity, and trade and legal. And I've had the privilege of also serving as adjunct professor and program director for the University of Mary for the Masters of Project Management program for over 15 years. Um, and as I mentioned earlier, serving in our beloved Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated's 12th District as technology chair, and that's been something that I've enjoyed and being of service in that regard. That's professionally, but personally, I'm the youngest of four, and blessed to be married to my wife Janelle. 29 years just this past month, and together we're homeschooling 10 children. So honestly, it's the most challenging and rewarding project management, which does make me the second best project manager in our home, as my wife handles those duties of schooling all of those. It's a proud thing for me to kind of brag about. Our Bell Academy, as we call it, has produced a Truman Scholar, a U.S. Air Force pilot, an officer, creative artist, musician, security professional, a casualty underwriter in New York, and most recently, my fifth daughter will be attending the Ohio State University on a full ride, merit-based scholarship, but also as a D1 recruit for the pistol team. Uh,
Wow.
and so she's nationally ranked and has aspirations as we look to the Olympics. So we have a lot of high rising, students there that we deal with. So our 10 seeds that we planted, we're very serious about. We've really done a lot of good work to cultivate them, and they're all very special. And I could
Mm,
go on and on about my kids, and that's
mm,
definitely where my passion lies. Uh, my journey has kind of taken me from manufacturing floors to the corporate boardroom, from
mm,
academic classrooms to industry speaking stages. Through it all, I've been grounded in my faith.
mm,
My commitment to my family and my passion for developing others are what remains paramount. So whether
mm,
it's mentoring students, leading transformation initiatives within my company or companies that I've worked through and for, or serving our beloved fraternity, I've learned that true leadership is really about empowering
mm,
others to succeed, and so that's something that I've always been very passionate about.
mm. Wow. I just is amazed, my brother, to hear the depth and the breadth of the impact that you're having professionally, but even more personally as a family man, as a husband, as a father. It's huge, when we drive through those redwoods, we see how tall they are, but we're those redwoods got some roots way deep down. And so to hear of your roots as relates to your faith, your love for your dear wife, and brothers, if you didn't hear that, 10 children. 10 children, same dad. That's what's going on. And both you and your wife partnering together to homeschool. Years ago, I had the privilege to homeschool my children. I'm blessed with four, but you've done it with 10, blessed with 10. And brother, just as you mentioned, because I have some questions for you, you're
Absolutely.
in spaces with technology. with industry leaders and certainly having this broad impact within your career, but at the same time balancing the priority of your home, your family, your children, your wife. And I have to ask, because we're so blessed, we have these district gatherings, you and the Brotherhood are overseeing our tech, and we can almost take it for granted. But you're one of us, you have a lot going on. Question, how do you do it? And then what challenges have you faced along the way and how have you overcome them, given so much that you're doing while maintaining the balance of home life, professional life?
Yeah, no, no, that's a great question. And one that, I always attribute it to just a lot of prayer and intentionality.
Mm,
Um, I don't always make the right decisions. I make a ton of mistakes, through it all. Um, but there are some keys I think that go to that. Which let me first kind of just touch on some of those challenges.
mm,
Scale and balance, right?
mm,
So managing the complexity of leading for a Fortune 500 company, and I've done that in several cases. Um, while the demand of schooling, it requires constant prioritization and constant.
mm,
There are days when both worlds are very demanding, and I say both. That's professional, but even from a fraternal perspective too. There's a lot of weight and demand that carries, uh,
mhm,
and I do just think being intentional
mm,
and prioritizing, and then operating with grace.
mm,
I'm very fortunate to have the family that I have that is
mm,
extremely supportive,
mm,
um, to have the partner in my wife that I have who's extremely supportive. Uh,
mm,
has had times where she says, I got this, you go focus over here. Uh,
mm,
and that's not common. We don't play good cop, bad cop.
mm,
Sometimes it's bad cop, bad cop. Sometimes
mm,
it's good cop, good cop. But the key is we're aligned, and
mm,
we try to seek that agreement and alignment on roles that we play from a
mm,
parenting perspective, from a supporting each other and ensuring that our oil doesn't go out for each other, but
mm,
also in everything that we do. Um, Other challenges, are kind of minor in comparison, but there's the landscape of professional. We're in a world where there's massive technology shifts,
mm,
digital transformation, changing the legal landscapes that I deal with. Um, Constant, you have to be a continuous learner and always, excited about learning what's next, what's coming
mm,
up.
mhm,
Not just understanding it, but where are the opportunities in it, and where's the people element in all of that. How does it
mm,
affect people? What I've learned in my career is the technology part's not the hard part. The people
mm,
part's the hard part.
mm,
We deal again late breaking technologies. There's always a fear: is this taking away my job, and
mm,
is it something that's impacting here? And so having that empathy and
mm,
being able to deal with people on a people level is very important. And I've done that in my career. I've done that in my personal walks. Be it in in all aspects. And this is the holistic piece has just become my ministry, and
mm.
and walk in that.
Wow.
Staying educated throughout, and then building trust along the way is really key. So
Mm. Wow. You've just shared a profound number of insights that any one of them we can dive deeper in. The one, the honoring of your dear wife, which, we're called as Omega Men, to honor and protect womanhood for sure. And in the faith, we're called to do that. You mentioned also working together as partners, that there's times where she'll take up areas so it frees you to focus in on areas and goals together. And then in Omega, you mentioned about the priorities and being able to work, achieving goals, but sometimes when they're competing goals, be able to figure out what's the thing that needs to be attended to. And then you touch on something that's really powerful, empathy, that being able to not just deal with the stuff of things, whether it be resources or material things, but people. It's people work that we're doing, whether it's in corporations or we're at home. And what comes to mind when I hear you, brother, and I enjoy these conversations because y'all are my brothers and my friend. I hear wisdom. Wisdom, knowledge is knowing what, but wisdom is knowing what to do with that. So, who have been those influencers in your life that the good Lord's put along your way that have given you just bits of wisdom, or what experiences have you had to kind of bring you to where you are, with your broad work with regard to companies and intel, but also homeschooling and together managing the projects of a family that you're producing scholars in your family? Who have influenced you with that wisdom, if you don't mind me sharing
No,
or
not at
asking?
all. There are always people that have been in my life, and my father probably being one of the most instrumental
Mm,
in that regard.
mm,
There were, my parents divorced when I was about five, and so, but
mm,
yet my father remained present all the way through, meaning that I never even realized a lot of times that that was the case because he was always present.
mm,
Uh, Pivotal point in my life, I actually lived with him as well during my teen, junior high, teen years, and
mm,
I think that was a critical moment as well. That's where a lot of some of those manhood roots and foundations come from.
mm,
Uh, but he found Christ and
mm,
changed his life dramatically when I
mm,
was young, and
mm,
changed the trajectory of my life by raising me, in church, and that gave me a solid foundation.
mm,
But he also had a lot of practical nuggets of insight and wisdom to just drop on me.
mm,
Um, and that was something that I think was always paramount.
mm,
My father-in-law, who
mm,
uh, you know, rest in heaven, he passed away last year,
mm,
but
mm,
great man, and really poured into my life and had a sense of stability, structure, and discipline that I didn't have growing up,
mm,
and so really gave me a lot of that. Various people throughout my life, whether it be through church,
mm,
through people I looked up to that, found, where my aspirations for Omega came from,
mm,
folks that were in my life and instrumental in that regard. My mother was very powerful and
mm,
regard. And again, just I never felt like I wasn't valued or loved.
mm,
So that really
mm.
helped me carry that forward. I know a lot of times hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
um, I
Mm,
was surrounded by a lot of love, and that actually helped mold me. But even though there was a lot of chaos in my life surrounding that, I was able to kind of always learn how to, kind of walk and move and navigate from that aspect. And so that was a lot of grounding from that standpoint.
mm, mm,
I get back to my best friend, and wife, and how she's one that can speak into me in terms
mm,
of call me out when I don't see myself. And I think it's very vital to be able to have someone that can call you that. And I do have friends that can do that as well,
mm,
but she knows me deeper than anyone else. And
mm,
so being able to then call that out and let me know, okay, here's where you need to think and pivot, or think differently, or need to operate differently,
mm,
and being able to value that and move forward. And so those are just some people that have been just extremely instrumental
mm,
in my life, and
mm.
have really played a part.
Wow.
And we mentioned that point about wisdom. I
Yes.
always think of it from a standpoint of, you know, knowledge is okay. That wall looks hard. Let me go run into it and see how hard it is. Wisdom is someone told you, hey, that wall's hard. You may not want to run into it.
Hmm.
Wisdom is the one that says, I'm going to take your word for it and I'm going to just operate differently. And so
Yes.
that's something that I've tried to emulate at times, to really kind of take in what others have gone through. And if that's the pitfall you went through, that you're going to avoid and build that bridge for me,
Mm,
I'll try to listen to that.
mm,
and walk smartly
mm.
accordingly, so that I don't make that same fall.
Wow. Wow, that's huge, my brother, and so grateful to hear along the way the impact of your father, your father-in-law, of course, your best friend of all, your wife, able to speak to you, call things out of you, and of course, brothers along the way. And that sense of accountability that I'm hearing, that there needs to be somebody's, ideally, of course, those closest to us all the way on out that can speak to us and call us out or up to a better life. And I love that example that you don't have to hit your head on against the wall. Take somebody else's word for it.
There we go. There we go.
And take the wisdom and so much of that, even in Holy Scriptures, we have these examples from the Bible, even the saying, you reap what you sow. So there's a lot we can learn from each other and help each other. And towards that end, there may be a brother watching this, maybe a brother who is in chaos, who may have experienced, sadly, what your mother and father experienced, a divorce, who may have be estranged from their children, who may be going through a downturn in work, who may be even on the other side of bad choices, because we do all make them. What would you say to that brother that just feels like the world is upside down and he's just trying to put one foot in front of the other in the morning? What would be a word for how they may cope or overcome that struggle? If you could say something to that
Well,
brother.
one thing that comes to mind for me is this: this too shall pass,
Mm,
and it's important to know that in life we have these ups and downs. We have these times that are very tumultuous and whatnot. And for me, all I can tell you is what worked for me, right?
mm,
And my relationship with Christ, it gave me a perspective beyond any single challenge, right? It's when you're grounded in something eternal, those temporary setbacks, become more growth opportunities as opposed to roadblocks.
mm,
It does require you understanding there's something greater than yourself. When you think it ends with just you, then yeah, then that's where that hope goes,
hmm
and you're willing to say, you know what, forget this. But when you realize there's something greater than you, my father would always say, "But God," that would be a
mm.
statement. He would
Yeah.
always say, "But God," right? And but for the grace of God, I too would be in shambles and
hmm
broken and all of those things. And so knowing that it's been, I've just had too many substantial pieces of evidence.
Mm,
The faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? The evidence of
hmm
things not seen, but that substance of I've just seen it prove out too often that there's no way I could be where I'm at but for God. And
mm,
so that has carried me to where um, I know He's real, and I know um, that He loves us and that He cares for us. And so through life, it's always been, even though I truly believe that He doesn't give us more than what we can bear.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't like to hear that when you're going through a tough time, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is this too shall pass,
Wow.
and don't give up the faith, and keep fighting and pushing on.
Mm,
There's
mm,
a book that I'm reading, good chapter brother of mine, Darren Witcher.
hmm Yes, sir.
Care
That's right.
about health initiative.
D-Witch.
Recommended a book and chop wood, carry water.
Mm,
And I've been reading that, and there's a quote in there that really kind of stood out to me, and it's comparison is the thief of all joy. A lot of times in life, we sit there and we look at our lives and we compare it to others.
yeah.
We then invalidate where we're at in our current situation and who we are.
hmm
Uh, but if we just continue to chop wood, carry water, continue to do the daily things in our lives to just help, keep us better, focusing on your relationships and being a good friend,
hmm
a good person, uh, you know, digging into your faith, holding on to that as your foundation.
hmm
Um, serving with all you have in you. If you just continue to do those things, the fruit does return. You
Mm,
those benefits from that aspect.
mm,
And you have to remember it's how God has created and equipped you to be. And that's been something I've had to learn in time. I always thought I had to have a different hat on. I had to have a
mm-hmm,
fraternity on. I had to have a church hat on. Had to have a work hat on. Uh,
mm.
as years have gone by, I've learned to appreciate my authentic self,
Yes,
to
that's right.
bring uh, in every walk of life that I am. So when you see me the same,
Same.
whether I'm as an executive at work, whether
Mm-hmm,
I'm operating as the from a tech chair perspective, whether I'm just a brother in a frat meeting, or whether
mm-hmm,
we're just out fellowshipping,
mm-hmm.
uh, you'll get the same person, and I
Yes.
think it's important. But it's taken years to get comfortable with that. And I think
Mm,
that's the tough part is men having that conversation
yeah,
of, are we good enough? Are we strong enough? The answer is unequivocally yes.
yes.
He made you, and he was intentional with who he made. And the thing to know is that the situation that you're in, the position that you're in, there was nobody else in the world that could do it but you.
Mm,
When
mm-hmm.
you understand that's the value that you have for the place that you're in, it gives you a lot more confidence to walk in that
Mm.
and walk in the paths that he's given you.
Wow. My brother, you shared a great deal, and one of my questions was, what have you learned about Christian manhood in this life? And you were nailing it, just one at a time, and you just to circle back, and I'm sure the brothers who are watching, listen to this, knowing that there's someone bigger than us.
Yeah,
We're not in this by ourselves. And that we can get on our knees or even bow our head where we are, or even if we're driving, call out to God in prayer. We're not in it alone. My goodness, comparison is the enemy of joy, and D-Witch is right about that. We just got to keep going right where we're at. I think of the Proverbs says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. And do not lean on your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge or look or submit to him. He will direct your path. Keep doing what you're doing. You seeking to do the right thing, that is, in the sight of God. Keep doing what you're doing. And I love where you shared of being able to accept our authentic self,
yeah,
being, and it is a journey. Paul, and you're familiar with the passage in 1 Corinthians 15, he said, by the grace of God, I am what I am. And
yeah,
his grace is not in vain. Therefore, I labor. So he works in, we work out. Yeah.
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 Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
people don't understand true Christian manhood. It's not about commanding authority. It's about stewarding those gifts, opportunities, influence that God has entrusted you.
Yes.
Whether it's leading your family, a team,
Hmm.
speaking, you got to be accountable for how you use those platforms that are in front of you.
Mm.
Uh, and the thing also that comes to mind is servant leadership, right? Christ washed feet.
Yes.
So in
Those.
corporate America, that translates
Hmm.
making sure your success lifts others up,
There.
right?
Bring everybody. There you go. That's
My
what's up.
proudest moments weren't my own promotions. They're watching others grow
There
and
you go.
seeing other people drive in areas of leadership and those type of things. And I think
Mm.
it's really important to always, you know, operate with that humility, and not false
Mm.
humility, but I mean that
True.
real, authentic humility of understanding that, you know, always someone greater than yourself from that standpoint, right? And
Mm.
so knowing that, how do you just continue to just help lift others, lift as you climb, if you will.
Yep.
So very
Wow. My brother, we could we'll have church on that one, and just and as you shared about being loved, and I'm sure when you look back, your father, your father-in-law, your dear wife, we know people along the way loved us and literally put us on their shoulders like, hey, we want you to do well in life, and then taking that servant mindset to the how can we do better?
yeah,
And Omega, how can we together do better? And wherever the good Lord has chapters across this world, that because of the presence of Omega men, those communities are doing better. And the master washed feet. And I'll never forget it. A seminary professor said, living in an agrarian society where you got all kinds of droppings going around, And for the master to take the role of a servant with a towel and washing funky disciples' feet. And he says, if I, the master, do this, I'm leaving you an example. And so the ultimate servant leader, the basileus, the ruler of rulers,
There
Jesus
we go.
Christ, he's like, he was able to stoop down and meet people at their funkiest place, clean them up to walk on.
That's
And I
right.
love that about Jesus.
I
And
love
brother,
it.
I appreciate that that's reflected in you. It's an honor to interview you. And my goodness. Um, Brother Bell, can you pray for the brotherhood? Pray for a brother who's on the line. Pray for a brother who's maybe going through.
Yes.
And then with that, we'll close out. Brothers, I hope you've been inspired by this transformational testimony. There's a lot there. So if you would, Brother Bell, it'd be an honor.
Oh, my pleasure. So if we bow our heads, Heavenly Father, we thank you for this conversation. And we ask that it has uh, touched deeply those hearts and minds and that need it at this point in time. There are definitely brothers that are out there struggling, that are wondering, are they good enough? That are wondering, how do they get through this situation? Maybe have lost loved ones and are struggling with that, and that's a very real struggle. Of when I know as well. But we know that weeping may endure for the night, but joy does come in the morning. We ask that you continue to just give us that encouragement, that life that only your word brings, and that peace that surpasses all understanding. We ask that you guard our hearts and minds with that. We thank you for this time again, a fellowship and brotherhood, and we ask that you continue to bless us as we walk on our merry ways. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Brother Bell. Any concluding thoughts before we close out?
No, this has just been a joy to me, just to be able to have some time with you, brother Chuck. Always a pleasure. I always feel blessed after just having any type of time with you. So for me to be able to sit with you and have this conversation, it blesses me. And if it helps others, I'm even more blessed for it. So I just thank you for the opportunity and for choosing me to be able to have a conversation and just know that I'm around. So if anyone ever wants to reach out, they know where to find me.
All
And
right.
I appreciate you for it.
All right, Brother Bell. We appreciate you. And brothers, you get to know Brother Bell. Yes, indeed. God bless you. This concludes our transformational testimony. We see you for the next one.
All right. God bless.